So let's get started. Here's how you make custom X-Wing tokens in TTS. I'm going to start with the absolute simplest way. Let's say you want to take a token, you want to make your own focus token. You want to keep the same circular shake. So what you do is you will right-click on that token, select Custom, click on this diffuse image. It will automatically select the entire URL. Control C to copy. Switch over to your web browser, put that in, and then take that image, save it down, and then edit it in your whatever. I'll save it as we're going to make a quick test folder here. Playing around, whatever. We're going to go with it. So you just save that file, focus.jpg. You open up your image editor of choice. I like to use GIMP. Forgive the name, it's just what it is. And we're going to go playing around. Open up that image. Yeah, just convert anything that you need to. And we're just going to say, you know what, I prefer a big old smiley face. All right, export that, save it as a thing, and then all you need to do is you go into that same folder, you click on this browse local files, you're going to go ahead and find a happy KDB tokens. Find your image, upload it, open it. It's going to ask you to save as cloud or local. I would say save as cloud if you want other people to be able to see it. Just for this demonstration, I'm just going to save it as local so as not to clutter my my Steam account. Then you click on import, just ignore that. And now you've got a little smiley face focus token. All right. Now, if you wanted, I don't know what just happened to my token there. Oh, apparently, pressing F on a focus token spends it. I did not know that. Huh, that's new to me. All right. If you want to make a double-sided token, like the reinforce, you can take the token that you're looking for. If it's a cloak token, double-sided cloak. Cloak is not double-sided. Very similar. You just copy the image, open it in a web browser, and then you save it. And then when you edit it, you'll need to copy one or the other. Now, if we look at the reinforced token in particular, we see that the 4 is the top, and so you want to make sure that this is whatever image you want to be on top, and this is whatever image you want to be on bottom. Edit it the same way you do. Same thing you do is you go in, you right-click, you custom, and then you browse the files to find the file and put it in there, and that'll be your double-sided token. If for whatever reason you want, let's say you want a token that is not normally double-sided, you can take the focus, you can take a reinforce, and we're going to copy the mesh on the reinforce. We're going to use that, and we're going to take the mesh, and that's actually the 3D model. I'm going to paste that over for the focus token, and so now makes it all wonky. And then if we were to go over and we were to save this image as reinforce, open up your web browser, your image editor of choice, open the image you downloaded, convert. I'm just gonna we're going very, very quickly here because this is just the simplest way, easiest way to make whatever tokens y'all want to make without putting too much effort into it. A big smile if we're happy. A big frown, we're not happy. Oh my god, this is the worst Tron's ever done. Perfect. Then you export, and then you go to Tabletop Simulator, and you take that token, and again you change the image to that reinforce. Again, you'll probably want to update it to cloud. For me, I'm just doing local, and I don't know if I can rotate this without it disappearing. F spends it. Well, whatever. The other side is going to be the happy face. Anyway, that's how you could make a double-sided token using existing tokens. The same principles apply to square tokens. If you look at the square image, it's going to give us just very similar. Just instead of a round token, it's going to give us a square token, and we just use it as such. Doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Works just fine. Now, what we're really here to talk about is if you want to make a token that is a weird, funky shape, something like my classical fish locks, right? This is a lock token that travels around, follows ships around, behaves exactly like a Atari lock. but it's shaped like a fish. How do you make a token like this? And that's what we're going to get into as the heart of this demonstration. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to need to make sure you have a vector graphic image editor. I use Inkscape because it is free. That's what we'll be using today. You'll want a 3D modeling program. We're using Blender. That's a program that we use in this for this particular tutorial. And then any image editing program of your choice. Again, I use GIMP because it is free. So today we're going to be making a little corgi paw token just for fun. I needed to use a reference image, so I pulled this image up from the internet. I don't know a thing about what is this, paw soothers organic, but I guess if your dog has scruffy paws, maybe it could help. I don't know, but I want their little paw outline. So we're gonna use it. We're gonna trace around that. So within Inkscape, we're gonna be creating vectors, which is images that are basically based off of mathematical formulas rather than a whole bunch of pixels all scattered together, which means that they can be used in any number of ways that drawings cannot. So we're going to use this pathing tool, and we're just going to click one at a time. We don't need to worry about how straight our or how curved our lines are going to be, because it's not going to show very big. We can just show the and so we just kind of go through. This is going to be a bit of a painstaking process. We want to make sure we cover the entire outline of the token that we want to make. And obviously, we're not going to be making this token exactly photorealistic. But you just go along and you continue to make your little icon. Don't worry if you get a line a little wrong. We can always fix it in post. And so we'll see, like, it's a little bit wonky in a few spots. We'll click on this node editing tool, and we'll say this node, I want to bring it in a little bit. And we'll say this node, I want to bring out a little bit. I kind of lost the paw, and I want to bring the paw back. And overall, we've got a pretty good shape. I'm going to now click on the image I used to create my. Oh, maybe I could do a little better work here. Let's do a little more node editing real quick. Bring that in tight. It's just going to be a little claw. All right, delete the image you used, trace or whatever. We're going to click on here. We want to make sure we have fully filled. So click on this. I want to make sure we hit the fill button here. And the great thing about Inkscape is when you save it, the working project is also just an SVG file, a vector file. So even though I don't have to export or anything, it's just already ready to go. So I'll put that into playing around, and we're just going to call this corgi paw. And it's just going to automatically assign the SVG file type. So from here, we finish the vector image. We're going to now go into our 3D modeling program. We are using today Blender. This tutorial is only going to be good for Blender. If you use a different program, can't help you very well. So we take when you create a new file in Blender, it always gives you a block. Click on it, hit delete. We don't want it. What we are going to do, and I'm going to magnify this so hopefully it comes through a little more easily, is click on Object up here in the top left corner, and then scroll down. Hold on a second. It may well be that I'm forgetting where I go to bring in my things. I don't know how to edit. Here we go. Okay, I'm not a video editor, so all these little mistakes are just being kept in. I'm doing this in one take. I'm not editing anything. Just what you get. So under File, down to Import, we want Scalable Vector Graphics, SGV. We'll click on that, and I'm going to zoom out again. We go to our folder. In my case, mine was in pictures, playing around, and we want to import our SVG file. And immediately you might say, where did it go? Well, if you zoom in real far, you see this is our little token. Not very big. We want to make sure we set its origin to, let's see here, origin to geometry, and then we snap. This is all under the object menu. We snap to cursor, and that'll bring it to the center. Next, we want to use the scale tool, and And we want to click just about anywhere that's not. Don't want to. This is how you would scale it specifically on a single axis. We want to scale it on X and Y simultaneously. So we'll grab it kind of here in the circle. We're just going to kind of increase its size. And if we look over in, I'm going to zoom in again, corner of this window, there is this little menu that you can pull out. It's hard to see. All you have to go off of this little arrow pointing out, drag it out, and you can see the dimensions of your item. So I like to scale mine till they're about, I feel like I've lost something here, but I usually scale them until they're about 2.5 to 3 meters, somewhere in there. So we'll stay here, or millimeters, whatever that M stands for. It doesn't matter. It's all digital, meaningless. All right, so we have a very flat object. It is not something we can make a token out of yet. So we are going to click on, again, object. And here's where I really want to make sure you'll see what I'm doing. So from this object menu, I'm going to go down all the way to convert. I'm going to make a real quick check in my editing program, see if you can actually see that coming through. Maybe you can't. Most is what it is. Object, convert to, and we want to convert it to a mesh. This is going to be a 3D object that we can interact with. It's still flat. It's still hard to see. So we are going to need to give it some depth. So to give it depth, we're going to click, I'm going to press Tab. Now we're editing in vectors. We're going to hit A. A is a select all button. And what we want to do is we want to transform it by extruding it. I don't remember where the extrude button is. It's here. Extrude. It's under face. Extrude faces. Shortcut is E. And you're just going to make it kind of a little bit bigger. It doesn't matter what size you make it, because we're going to fix all that in post. We're going to hit Tab again to get it to go back into the larger object mode. I forget what these are called. So we're not editing. So Tab makes you switch between editing paths and editing just objects and collections overall. We want to be in the collection perspective. And what we can do is we can even click on the Z dimension. And what we want it to be is 0.08. So actually, we can see that sometimes this happens in Blender. The dimensions have changed. I don't know why it does that, but we're going to grow this because we really do want it to be about, we follow the number, about between 2.5 on the X and Y axis, 2.5 and 3. So now Z is way too big. Let's bring that down to 0.08. All right, that's the size we want for our token. That's a pretty good size for what we're working with inside of TTS. So now we have our object. We are ready to export it, except, so here's the thing. Well, we don't want a big old black object in TTS. We want to actually be able to apply an image to it. So Blender has this thing where if you want to open separate windows, you just kind of reach to the side of the screen. It doesn't want to work with me because I'm in have OBS open, but you reach to the side of the screen and you can just pull open a new window. It's not really a window button. We want to click on this icon here and we want to go into UV editor. And this is our UV map. This is our image map. This is all the things you have to work with. It is everything in here is a straight line. We don't want that. So going back into this right side menu, again, pressing A to select everything. Under the UV menu right here, we want to use the Smart UV project. Just hit OK. Don't worry about editing any of the defaults. Are usually good. When we see what that's done, it's given us actually a UV map we can work with. So from here, we want to make sure we save our file so we don't lose it. Playing around. Corgi paw. Save this file so that way we can make any changes later. And now we can take this. This is going to be our sort of our skin. And we go under, on this left menu, again, under UV, we are going to, probably can't see it because my face is in the way. Let's back it out. Export UV layout at the very bottom of the UV menu. This is going to give you a PNG file. You can change the format, but PNG is usually pretty easy to work with. What we do want to do is increase our size. 1024 by 1024 sounds like a lot to work with. It's actually not so much. lot of different conflicting sizes people like to work with. I think 2048 is just fine. Some people like to do 4096. It's always good to be some kind of power of 2. Today we're just going to do 2048. And make sure you change the X and the Y or you'll get a very weird wide image. So we'll export that UV layout, and that's going to give you, now if you go into your graphic editor, you don't care about a reinforce. If you open, and you open now, we're looking for, it's going to be saved as probably path 847. You could rename it if you wanted to. That's fine. Just open it in your editor, and now you see what you have to work with. Everything that's going to appear on the face of your token, that is the top or the bottom, it's going to appear in the big part that looks like your shape. Everything over here, this looks like kind of that weird bar chart. It's just all of the various edges and sides. So if you want to edit that, good luck. I don't have any great advice for you on how to do that. But so we can work with here for sure is we can fix our path. We can put in the image that we want. So whatever works for you. One thing I do like to do, because it's not always obvious right away, is create a sort of a test file. So one thing that does tend to happen is images will be mirrored or flipped, and so we want to make sure that we are oriented in the right direction. So I'm going to change the size of this just a little bit. You can generally be pretty confident that lines do not overlap in this Smart UV wrap. It's the entire intent of things. So we can see that we need to go just a little higher, and that's about as far as we need to go. So we'll copy that, we'll paste that to a new file, new layer. A lot of tricks you can use in how you edit your images. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. That would be a whole another video. But we are going to select everything. I see. We're going to invert, delete, and then fill just this color. And then just so I know which side is the top and which side is the bottom, we're going to fill like one white, or one yellow, one blue. We're going to add some text just so we know which way it reads. Fresh. Oh, that needs to be way bigger. Fresh. And now we're going to save this project. You can save it as anything you want. You can save it as the name of the path file. I'm going to call it again. Everything is a corgipah, so we'll call it corgipah.xwf. We're going to export that corgipah.xwf. We are going to, now this is where it gets a little tricky. Within our UV, we are going to click on Image, Open, and we need to open up that corgipah.jpg. Didn't mean to export it as JPEG, but that's okay. So that is our map. Now, if we look in Blender, you can see that it's not actually assigned to our image. So what we have to do is have to click on the image, click on the model, the icon. Click on this kind of looks like a planet material properties. You're going to click on Use Nodes, and our base color, we want to click on, and sorry, just to be clear. So you click on the object, you click on this right folder, right menu, click on this planet button right down here. This will pop up. You'll have this texture shown. Click on Use Nodes right here. From there, we go all the way down to base color. Let me zoom in on this so you can see exactly what we're doing. So Use Nodes, base color, and we want to use an image texture. All right, now it's going to give you a menu. The menu button is right here. This is where we will pick our corgipah. Once we apply it, we can see a couple things. First of all, we can see that the yellow side is the top and the blue side is the bottom. Oh no, actually I was upside down. The blue side is the top and the yellow side is the bottom, and we can also see that fresh is flipped horizontally, so it's mirrored. So if we were to go back into our image and we take our text and let's just for fun, let's merge these down and we'll flip them horizontally, so now we can't read them. We export that again. Within Blender, you can see, you can hit reload, it'll reload your image, and now actually the image will show you text in our way. So we know that our images are flipped, so you can work with that. From there, we're going to go into little things like maybe we take this and we make, be very clear, this is our top paw. And I also just want to do a real quick. You want to get rid of this noise here. Sometimes there's maybe a little bit of bleed over, and that just is a coincidence. We'll get rid of that. So there's a top paw. There's my bottom paw. And I'm just going to do a real quick, I'll do a better version for this when I create my final product, but we're just going to go, you know, little pads, little pads, little pads, little pads, little buttons, little toe beans. And the great thing about this is you can take it, you can usually copy, paste, flip it upside down. You'll find that these images are almost actually just vertically mirrored images of each other. Make it fit to the best of your ability. Again, things that we can clean up. Now you export it. Maybe we want there to be a difference between top and bottom. So I'm going to the wrong menus. But if we look in Blender, we reload, you can see there is our little corgi paw token. Now, what I want to do is I want to make sure I file, I export, and I export as file, file, export, export as an object, wavefront.obj, corgipaw.obj, and now all we have to do is go into Tabletop Simulator, whatever token we wanted this to be. Let's say we want this to be a charge token. Imagine if, in fact, let's do this right now. Let's make this right corgi paw. Let's make it that red. Oh no. This is now a corgi paw shield. Export that. And now we go into Tabletop Simulator. We take, let's say, this shield token that we were building, and we're going to hit custom. And now we're going to go into our local files, and we're going to click on the object that we exported, corgipaw.object. I would recommend you make this cloud. Again, I don't want to clutter up my Steam right now. So click on cloud. If you click on local, only you will be able to see it. So you need to click on cloud so that other people you're playing against will be able to see it. And then export the image. That is your wrap. Again, you want to put that cloud, but I make it a local, and then hit import. And I usually hit cancel here because it's easy. You can just copy and paste. And so now we have a shield token, a corgi paw shield token. So that is how, and then of course, so the final step is that you would right click and save object as however you like it. Shield to be deleted later. And that's it. That's how you make whatever token you want. This token is going to behave exactly as a shield token would. If I move my face, give me one moment. And you look in the chat, you can see a fish lost a shield token, a fish recovered a shield token. So it behaves exactly as a shield token does. That's it. That's all I got for you. Hopefully this video helped. Yeah, good X-Wing playing out there, friends.